Hey guys, so today I wanted to do a video where I show you my updated makeup look, because if you look at how I used to do my makeup even last year, beginning of last year, compared to now, I went from using full coverage foundations to skin tints. So my routine has definitely changed throughout the years. I remember when square eyebrows were the thing and I was definitely partaking in that. Now I'm all about making my brows look super fluffy, super natural. So before we get started, you know the drill. Subscribe, like, follow me on social media. That's it. Let's get started. So starting off with the face, I always start off with my brows. For some reason, I'm more comfortable doing my eyebrows first and then putting on foundation. I don't know who told me that was a good idea, but for some reason that's something that I started with and now I can't stop. So for brows, I use the Hourglass Arch brow sculpting pencil in the shade dark brunette, and this has been my favorite brow pencil for maybe 4 years now. I like that for a brow pencil, it's not like super waxy. You know when you put on a brow pencil and it's like really waxy and then it's like hard to blend out? Well, this is like pretty dry and it applies very nicely, and I like angled brow pencils like this because it just makes the process a whole lot easier. Let me bring you guys in just a little closer. So sad fact about my eyebrows don't really grow that much. If they do grow, it's always down here, but it's never the actual brow. So I stupidly plucked a little too much because I wanted to change the direction of how I fill in my eyebrows, whereas instead of filling them going downward, I'm filling them going upward. I'm actually filling them in, oh my god. Where instead of going down, I go a little more out, where it kind of gives my eyes like a little bit of a foxy look. But when I don't have my brow products on, I just look absolutely ridiculous. So starting to fill them in, I really just go and I first create the line at the bottom, and you see how the natural direction of my eyebrows goes down here, but I bring it more out this way. So that's kind of what I do now. And then I always have to create the arch on this eyebrow because I don't have one, and that's basically what it is. And what I do, I kind of brush upwards and then I start filling in my brow with the pencil. And then towards the front, I usually just brush. I never really apply any product. I just continue to brush so that way it looks a little more natural. This eyebrow is always a lot easier to fill in because I have a little more hair. So it's a lot easier to fill in compared to the other side. And just like that, my eyebrows are filled. Okay, now moving on to the face. I mentioned in the beginning how I stopped using foundation and how now I only use skin tints. I never saw the day that I was gonna start using skin tints instead of full coverage foundations, because I used to be someone that loved looking so flawless and like full coverage and matte. And now I'm like, ooh, I want my little mole to show. I want some of my under eyes to show. I'm over here like embracing my insecurities. Like, who is she? So, you know, I think that's what happens when like the pandemic hits and you look at yourself a little more and you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm not that bad looking. Because the pandemic made me not wear a lot of makeup. And so I started realizing how pretty I was even without makeup. And so now when I wear makeup, it's like, oh, I don't want to completely change my face. I don't want to look super different from what I look now. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? All right, so for face, for complexion, I'm using the Morphe Skin Tint. I think this is their new line. I know Charli D'Amelio, like the D'Amelio sisters, they're involved in this somehow. I don't know how. So this is their skin tint in the shade Hint of Toast. And back in the day, back in the old me days, I used to use a sponge to blend my foundation, and now I use a stippling brush. So what I do is I take one drop on my hand and then I stipple it, and then I just kind of freely apply it all over my face. I don't go crazy and apply too many layers. I just go very light on my face with just one layer of the skin tint. This skin tint has become one of my favorite products of 2020 because you see how like I put it on and it still looks like skin. Like it doesn't look like I have anything on, and that's something that I really like. Can't forget the 5-head. Yes, no we can't. I think that's also why I just do my eyebrows first and then my complexion, because I don't go crazy with like filling in every spot on my face. Like I like to leave a pretty thin layer of foundation on my face just so that way you can still see like some texture. You see, like, this just doesn't sound like me. So as you can see, she's glowy, she's very natural. Moving on to concealer, I started applying concealer like how all these TikTok videos show about how you're supposed to be applying concealer, where you apply it right by the bridge of your nose and then right close to your temples and like kind of the outer corner. I don't apply concealer over here anymore, and it really does look different compared to how I used to do. I used to do the triangle, or I would kind of do like the, you know, the right under the, I call it the upside down rainbow. So the concealer I use is the NYX HD Studio Concealer in the shade 4. And what I do is I apply a little here and a little bit here. That's basically it. So you do the same thing on the side. And I use a small brush to blend this out. This is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH08 brush. And what I do is I just lightly blend it out. And I mainly focus it like in the inner corner part of my eye and right underneath it. And then in the outer corner, I kind of just blend upwards towards my brow bone, even on my eye sometimes. But I mainly focus it like in the outer corner area and right on my temple. And what that does is it makes the concealer kind of brighten that part of your face, and it makes your face look a little more lifted compared to if you were to apply concealer right here, it would kind of bring down the brightness. You know what I mean? You learn a little something every day on this channel. Now, when it comes to setting, I used to set my entire face. Now I only set my under eyes and my forehead, which is unbelievable. So I take some setting powder. This is the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. And I just lightly start setting my under eyes. I set my eyelids. Just set the other eye. I wish I had super smooth under eyes to the point where I don't have to apply any setting powder, because I wouldn't use setting powder if I could get away with it. But my under eyes, they crease so badly no matter what I use. So I have to set it with powder. And that's it. That's all I use to set my face. I use to set my under eyes and my forehead. Next up for my eyes, I'm gonna be applying lashes. And I've gone so natural with my lashes to the point where I'm using natural looking lashes. Natural! And I was someone that used to use extremely dramatic, like you could barely see my eyes lashes. I mean, I'll still go back to that for like special events, but who's having a special event right now? Not you. You should not be throwing big events, because if you are, you're a bad person. Anyways, moving on. So I'm gonna be applying these lashes from Cake Face Cosmetics. This brand is actually from a good friend of mine. She just launched her lash brand. These are the Style Natural. They are absolutely beautiful. And I'm just gonna put a coat of mascara and then I'm gonna put them on and I'll be right back. What I love about these lashes is that even though they're natural, they look like you have lashes on. It was hard for me to transition into natural lashes because I would buy lashes that were deemed to be considered natural, but they look like I had nothing on my eyes, and that's what I hated about wearing natural lashes. But these are something else because they're natural, but you can see that I have them on. You can see the difference. I also like that the band is pretty thin, so it literally looks like my lashes just grew. But they didn't. All right, finishing off, this has to be like the #2 biggest change that I've made to my makeup routine, and that is contouring and bronzing up my face. I was never someone that would go to cream contour or cream bronzers, and here we are. I'm using cream products. This is the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer in the shade Baked. And what I do is I just grab a small brush like this. This is the Morphe M449 brush. I stipple it a little onto the bronzer, and then that is how I bronze my face. I just really go, what is that right here? My viewfinder on my camera is so small that it looked like something weird, but it's just a pimple. So I just apply very little, and what I do is I kind of stipple it on, and then eventually I kind of just bring it up. You never want to drag the bronzer downwards. You always want to kind of bring it up. And if you start blending it, I blend it like this. Very editorial. And then I do the other side. And then sometimes I will do this, but for the most part, and then just keep with that same stippling motion, the dragging upwards. You gotta do a little bit of the nose, and I don't go crazy on the nose. My dogs are choosing right now to be rambunctious little boys. Sometimes I do my forehead, but other times I leave it alone. But for the sake of this video and just to be a little extra, I'm gonna do my forehead. You know, bring it down to normal size, humble it a little, if you will. I even started using cream blush out of nowhere, and I don't know where this change happened, but I started seeing people using it, and I was like, wow, I feel like I would look so hot with that. So I just used the little blush from Milk. This is in the shade Work. That's W-E-R-K. And what I do is I just take a little bit of the blush onto a brush, and then I just lightly apply it onto my cheeks. My makeup routine has changed so much that I don't even wear highlighter anymore, and that is saying something because I used to be such a highlighter user, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I put my blush and my contour on and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty much done. I do a little bit on the nose just to feel a little on trend. And then for the final step, my lips, I use a gloss, and I haven't used lipstick or a matte liquid lipstick in a very long time. I've been using lip gloss for as long as I can remember. And for lips, I just use the NYX Butter Gloss. These are my favorite lip gloss formulas in the entire universe. And this is my favorite shade in the entire universe. This is the shade Madeline. I've been using this shade for about 4 or 5 years. Okay, I don't think this has any more. You gotta swirl it to really get product out. I'm really trying to see if you guys can see it. There we go. Can we start a petition for NYX to start making these just a little bigger? I'll pay the extra $2. I just want these to be a little bigger. All right, let me fix my hair and look a little more presentable. Okay, so there you have it. This is my updated makeup routine. As you can see, my makeup routine has dramatically changed throughout the years, even months. And back in January of 2020, I was doing my makeup very full coverage, and I was acting like I was hot stuff. And I look at my makeup routine now and I'm like, I really don't need that much makeup to look decent. And I'm kind of digging it. I also want you guys to send me recommendations on some of your favorite makeup products, because I am looking to buy new makeup, such as new brow products. I've been using the same Hourglass brow pencil, and I feel like it's time to change into something else, because A, that brow pencil is expensive. And I know there are more inexpensive brow pencils out there that are much better. Also, brushes. I need new makeup brushes, eyeshadow palettes, maybe new skin tints or like light coverage foundations. If you guys have any suggestions, feel free to leave it linked down below so I can try them out. Other than that, I hope everybody has an amazing day. Pray for our country, because our country is going to crap right now. Listen, if anyone has space in their home, whether it be in Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, United Kingdom, Paris, Italy, Spain, please feel free to slide into my DMs and let me know when I can move in. I have 2 dogs and a husband. With that being said, I will see you guys on my next video. I love you all so much. Thank you for your support, and I never know how to finish these.